I'm Tanner Iglio.
I'm Elijah Schiarelli.
I think we've been friends for, well, a long time.
We've been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
We've probably been best friends since 2014.
Yeah, 12 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically, the year I got married.
Yes.
So who's to say who I actually... but it's been... we've known each other since grade school.
Yeah.
We met at PCC Students.
Yes.
Back in the day when Angie Frame was the student coordinator then, although I wasn't called coordinator, it was just student person.
Yeah, she just let us.
Yeah. Right.
I was in 7th grade.
Yeah. So that would have put me in
probably
10th grade.
10th grade, yeah.
Yeah. So sophomore year.
You're quite a bit more hair back then.
That's true. That's true. At least on my head.
As did
I. Yeah. Right. Right. No, we met through student ministry. I think both of us had people we were closer to in students, especially at that time, because of the age difference. Mm-hmm. You know, right now our age difference is meaningless.
Right.
But when you're a sophomore,
you don't want to hang
chilling
out
with
too
a
many
7th grader, you know, it's not.
But I was lucky enough to be influenced by older kids who were in a good place and knew what they were doing. I think we've been friends for that long, but I think really like what started to shape it, you know, is when we started working at PCC together.
You were an intern.
Yeah.
I had just come on staff.
You were a worship coordinator, I think.
Yes, I was at our Riverside campus.
Yeah.
But you were playing there every week.
Yeah, that opened that fall, and we were, I guess, in 2013.
2013.
All through there.
Yeah,
we played that whole year together out there at Riverside, which was really cool.
It was really cool. Lots of adventures out there.
Before that, Midlow, when it was still the Westchester campus in the movie theater, us working together lined up with also starting to be who we were becoming, you know, as adults, and who we wanted to be in our leadership lives and our personal lives. And, you know, like you said, well, for both of us, in our marriages, I wasn't married yet, but as we started getting there, you know, I wasn't the best man in your wedding. You were best man in my wedding, but that's okay.
Still harboring it. It just was one of those things, man. You got married after me.
Yeah.
I got married, like I said, I got married in 2014, kind of when it was all happening. But
it's cool. It only hurts when I think about it. So
well, that's all right. I was really like second best man in your wedding, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think even though, you know, we're both young, although we are really keen on the reality that we're getting older.
Yeah.
It's been longevity, right, that has really played into the success.
Yeah.
What we would consider the success of our relationship. And I know that's true for any relationship.
Right.
But it's longevity mixed with the idea that we genuinely want what is best for the other person.
Right.
Even if that means that I or you don't receive what's best in a given scenario.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, your best is preferable over my best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's true the other way.
And we also believe the best in each other, which I think is important as well. You know, when you're friends for such a long time, you're going to run into situations where you don't see eye to eye, or somebody hurts somebody else. I say most time, literally every single time. It's unintentional, but for us. But you know, when that happens, there's not a secret back conversation of like, I can't believe he did that. There's just first of all, I know he wouldn't do that on purpose. So is there something I'm missing? And then if it still persists, it's a conversation of, you know, hey man, I wish this would have gone differently. This is how it made me feel. And that's not met with what are you talking about? It's met with oh, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. What can we do to make it better? Right.
As best as we can, although we're humans, to not get defensive.
Yeah.
If we do feel the need, or there's a scenario where we have to, quote unquote, call the other one out.
Right.
Although that's, again, not what we're trying to do necessarily. It's just accountability. And I think those conversations were more difficult at first.
Yeah.
Just because you are worried that, like, oh, if I bring this up, I know I should, but if I bring this up, is he going to be mad? Or, you know, is it going to affect our friendship, et cetera, et cetera? We now have a history of proof that won't happen. Not only has it made the conversations easier, but opened the door to even more conversations and more like, hey, man, when you did this or you said that, you know, this is how it came across. And I know that that's not what you meant, but you still need to know that that's happening. And that we just accept that as like, well, because they said it and noticed it, I believe it. Not like, oh, no, that's not me. I would never do that kind of thing.
I also think one of my favorite things about our friendship and what has allowed it to be so solid is that most of the time, if there's a conversation to be had, it's not even really about, hey, when you did this, it made me feel this way. It's more like, you know, the kind of husband, father, man of God, leader that I'm trying to be. And I know that for you too. And so, I specifically remember before I was working at the church, I had another job, and I was playing music. I was playing drums for something, and we had a practice that went long. Like, we had a lot of music and tech problems and all that. So we had a practice that went really long. I had to work the next day, and I was super frustrated, and I was just wearing it on my sleeve. It was super obvious. And even though I wasn't working at the church, I was still a leader, amongst our church and our friends, and so people were looking at me that way, and it was obvious that I was disgruntled. I remember when practice ended, I left not in the normal way that I would leave, in a frustrated way. And you immediately texted me when I got in the car, and you were like, you didn't say, like, what do you think, and all this stuff. Your text literally said, hey, man, I just want to let you know it was obvious that you weren't okay, and the way that you handled it, I know that that's not the kind of leader you want to be. And it was just like, it's one of those things where I got it, I'm like, I know, you know what I mean? But, like, when you sent to me, I was like, I know, and I can do better. And so, then I came back and apologized to people and all that. And that, I think that is the foundation of what has allowed our friendship to prosper, is we are willing to do that for each other. Like, this isn't who you want to be. This is who you want to be. And even though you didn't get there, it's okay.
Yeah.
But let's help each other.
And what I think is interesting about that, if I just think about friendships in general, is that often is the difference between a good friend and, like, your best friend. 98% of our friendship is just what probably any other friendship is. Just we're into video games, we like sports,
music.
We joke, we like music, and so that's basically all we ever talk about. But when, because it is always when, those scenarios come up, like you mentioned, like I've had several times for me where we're just not acting the way we want to, or that we didn't mean to, or somebody needs to course correct us, who actually cares about us. We're actually willing to do that. And I think that friendships that are less than they could be fail to make that jump. They're good with all this 98% because it's easy. But then that 2% right there at the end, where you actually have to engage in some sort of healthy conflict with your friend, that becomes the hard part. And any relationship that's willing to go there can actually be like a lifelong friendship.
And I think when you see that, when you connect what you just said, that concept with the concept of the longevity, that's when it starts to really work together. Because I've had conversations with people who are like, they're lamenting a lost or a broken relationship, whatever that might be, whether it's, with a romantic partner or whatever it is, with a friend in this case. Like, we're not as close as we used to be. What happened? I'm like, well, when you've been friends for a decade, particularly when you go from being a teenager to grown adults with wives and children, you're going to change and evolve. And if the foundation of your friendship isn't set on continuing to grow as individuals and grow together, and you're pouring into each other like that, it's never going to be what you want it to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. Just thinking about what we said at the beginning, we met sophomore year in 7th grade. Like, the people we are now, are just so different in almost every single way, because that's just what happens to a person. The friendship has remained, and of course just gotten stronger. Now we have all this back history that really, it feels like whatever scenario could come up, we can look back and be like, oh yeah, we've done that before. And so it doesn't have to be intimidating or scary or be like, I don't know what to do in this spot up to this point.
And I think with that, you have to have some intentionality too. It'd be easy. Like, there's different seasons of our friendship where, years ago, before both of us had kids or anything, like, we spent a lot of time playing video games. And then at some point, we spent a lot of time playing music together. And then we were pastors together. And so as these things have evolved, different things have pulled away from our time. And it's an intentionality to say, okay, well, this is pulling away here, but how are we going to supplement this? Like, if this is really important to us, let's make sure that we're making time for that. And that, what that looks like has evolved now. Now we make sure that we have dedicated time that's just the two of us, and we make sure we have dedicated time that's with our families together, because we want them to grow together, and it's all rooted again in that same thing. Not, we want to be together just because we are dependent on each other. We want to be together because we want people around us who are going to make us better than we were yesterday. They love us for who we are now, but they love us too much to stay there. You know what I mean? And I think doing that with intentionality and being willing to ask and say, hey, I missed this. Can we pursue this better? Is always going to be a key part for any friendship that lasts.
Definitely. And they always say, like, watching your kids succeed in an area is more fun than you yourself succeeding in that area or anything. And so it's beginning to happen, watching our children become friends.
Right.
Although they're still a little young,
Yeah.
you know, to particularly yours and my youngest. But still, watching them, like, get excited to see each other is like, yo, I know what that feels like. I remember being there.
The joy of watching your 7-year-old just hug my 3-year-old and her. Anytime if we say the word friend in our household, Harper, my 3-year-old, she will look up and be like, Oakland? Your 7-year-old. I'm like, no, they're not coming over, but soon. We'll see them soon.
Right.
So
And that's awesome. What I have found in you that I've yet to find as completely as I have in you is that willingness to go into the fray.
Mm-hmm.
And to just say, and combined with what you were talking about, believing the best about it.
Mm.
I think there's a half step between just the surface stuff and where we are, which is you are willing to have conflict, but it's not healthy. It's yelling at each other. It's accusing each other. It's believing that you would do something poorly because you had ill intention. Or me doing something poorly because I had ill intention. I think the step beyond that is willing to go in the fray, knowing and believing wholeheartedly that what you did, what I did, what we've said, things like that, we're not meant with any sort of ill intent.
No.
And if you start there, I feel like you can overcome whatever.
And one of my favorite things is to look back and say, I would not be who I am today without the friendship that we have. And I'll always remember when you talk about being in the fray, I'll always remember having a conversation where you could easily have just been a yes man or a detractor, whichever side you decide to fall on. But your question to me was, do you really believe that this is what God is calling you to? I was like, yes. I think that, and you said, then just do it above reproach. Like, live well for God, not for yourself, not for, just glorify God in this if this is what you're going to do. And that quote from years ago has always stuck with me and shapes the way that I do everything now, as our friendship has shaped me. And I'll always be grateful for that.
Well, similarly, your influence on my life, it's inextricably tied. I can't think about my life before.
That's a good way to put it.
Really, before I have memory. Yeah. That's what it feels like anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, high school is like a distant memory at this point. And so there's hardly a time in my life where I can remember that your influence wasn't having an impact on me, even when, we were in high school.
Yeah.
Because although we have changed very much, like we said, the passion that you dive into anything with has always been inspiring to me. And you've had many talks with me similar to you about this is where you're going, you need to do this well. But your major influence on me has just been the way you approach people, other people. I think that you are a master of just showing people that you care about them, not just saying it, but doing it. And that only continues to increase as your capacity gets better, and it's something that I always want to get better at. So, yeah, man, I love you, man.
I love you too. And many more memories to come.
Definitely.